Hey guys, it's Pat here. Today I am back in my seat. I have lowered the table and I'm going to do a different video. I recently got an iPhone and I still had my Samsung around, which meant I could do a fairly strong comparison about the features of Android and the features of iOS. So this video here is going to be 9 things that are better in Android than in iOS, or basically iOS might not even have it at all. Quick reminder, remember to enter the competition below to win the Ultimate Ears Blast that's still going on until the 25th of December 2018. Guys, thank you very much for supporting this channel, so please enter. It is worldwide and you get to win a really awesome Bluetooth speaker. So the first one I want to talk about is customization. Now, we know if you've heard from Android users that customization is a huge thing on Android, and to be honest, I don't really want to go into that. Because there's a whole world of customization for Android that kind of doesn't relate to a user-friendly type of situation that you might get on iOS. So the main thing I really want to mention, and this is the one customization that you just cannot get on iOS, and so that's number 1, customizing your app drawer. Not just folders, but being able to put them anywhere on the screen without having them pop back all the way to the top or in line with everything else. That is the one big thing that I've found that iOS just doesn't do, and it's something that Android has done for so long, and it's been real nice to be able to not only make the icons smaller, fit them in different places, put them in different areas, and have the Android ecosystem actually save that when you move to a different device or even reset it. I know Apple does that, but the fact that it goes into the exact same spot, into the exact same folders that you can have also, but also the fact that the bottom drawer can be customized with crazy amounts of apps. Number 2, and this is very specific to Samsung's Androids, and what you might find is a lot of them will be Samsung to Androids, because I find Samsung and Apple really try and go head to head. It's the main competitor when you go into shop, and then you've got other things like Pixel, the Mate 20, and a couple of other Android phones, but Samsung is always compared to Apple. So on the Samsung Android side, there is one thing that Apple doesn't have, and that is an integration into white pages. This allows unwanted and any spam calls to be blocked automatically before they reach your phone. But also, it lets you put a comment down and let other people know that this is a scam, or this is a person that's being offensive or maybe dangerous. And I really liked it. In fact, when somebody would call me that was spam, it would, and I didn't know the number, but somebody else made a comment about it, it would pop up with scam warning, big red lighting, and I was able to cancel it, not even bother answering it. Now, this is great for your older parents or your older generation who might get scammed a lot, and providing them with a Samsung phone that protects them from even getting those calls is absolutely fantastic. Kind of questionable, and I kind of pulled it out of a hat like a rabbit. This is Dex. So Dex is a way to plug in your phone into a monitor and add keyboard and mouse and be able to use it as if it's a desktop experience. Now, for me, that's just a great experience that I can take my phone and turn it into a desktop experience in case I want to. Most of the time, in the last generation of Samsung phones, you had to have a Dex unit to do so, but with the new ones, you just plug in a little adapter, which is a lot better, obviously, so you don't have to buy this $150 Dex adapter, or, well, it's not really an adapter, it's like a docking station. But in saying that, while the complication around it, it's quite interesting that you're able to do so, and potentially for people who are on the road and maybe are somewhere where they need to access their files in a more productive keyboard way, you can do that with your phone. Obviously, you can connect a keyboard to your Apple phone, like a Bluetooth keyboard, but still not the same experience if you had a mouse and if you had windows to move around and things like that. So that's number 3 for you guys. Again, this is not the most comprehensive list, but it's my list. So camera. Guys, I have absolutely loved my Samsung S8 camera, and moving to an iPhone, I have found the camera to be lacking, and the main thing is 16:9 support. Why can I not take photos in a 16:9, which is all the monitors that you buy everywhere where you'd view it, or maybe when you make a video and you want to add a slideshow, you get these weird 3x4 or 4x3 ratioed photos really odd, but hey, when you make a video on an iPhone, it goes full screen. That to me is an absolute pain, and Samsung has done it so well that I have preferred their cameras for a long time. And in fact, one of the reasons I stayed with Samsung Androids was because of that camera, and it takes beautiful photos. And those people who try and compare it to an iPhone, I don't know, I still believe that the Samsung phones have taken better photos since the Galaxy S6. And also that little quick button when you double tap on the lock screen button and it opens up the camera, that was always a great way to bring up the camera. Number 5! This one is a little bit more social friendly. So if you do a lot of social sharing or sharing of photos, videos to friends, to social networks, you know, Twitter, Facebook and stuff. Sometimes when you take a photo with the actual app built in, so let's say you've got Snapchat and you use the camera, it's usually terrible. Very bad. Very. So instead you need to use the original camera app on your phone, will it be iPhone or Android, and that obviously takes a lot better photos because it's made for that model, made for that camera, and has all the settings you need to make that photo look good. So what happens is when you do take that photo and you want to share that photo to one of those social media networks, straight from the photo, there's a share button. Now, Samsung does this really awesome way of sharing where it brings up all the apps. Not just some picked apps like on Apple, but all the apps you can share to, and you can share that photo, share that file, anything. And it's Samsung specific because it doesn't matter where you open this file, it'll open up with that share screen. The share screen on iOS is absolutely terrible and I do not like using it. It is limited and it doesn't give me exactly the apps I want, and to even find those is a very hard slog to even get to those settings. So I really do like the way Samsung has implemented their share feature. All right, number 6. This is a huge pet peeve for me, especially on the iPhone right now. You cannot long press the Wi-Fi icon to bring up all the Wi-Fi connections. You have to go through settings. It's a waste of time. It's too many button taps. Too much using of my finger. On Samsung, you just drag it down, hold Wi-Fi, hold Bluetooth, whatever one it is, and it'll bring up the settings of that app, and you're able to change your Wi-Fi, connect to a different Bluetooth device, and so on. All right, this is a double-edged sword. So Samsung doesn't necessarily support their devices for 2 years. So number 7 is end-of-life support. The interesting thing about it is that Apple does support their devices for a long time, but Samsung only supports it for 2, and then maybe even other Android companies also don't support it that long. But what's interesting is the third-party homebrew scene that has propped up and actually kept a lot of devices that are old alive with new updates, new software, new everything, and has made old Android devices that aren't necessarily aged badly with terrible specs, but really nice quality devices still living their life, and even with their first and initial terrible implementation of an Android skin, you can get a nice clean Android on a lot of old Android phones. If they're popular, you'll get support for a lot longer than the standard that comes with the company that sold the phone to you, the manufacturer. All right, number 8. Samsung and Android has provided you a lot more security features than Apple has in a long time, and even now Apple is cutting out the fingerprint scanner. So Samsung is coming out with in-screen fingerprints. There's a lot of companies that are already doing it with optical sensors. It's a little bit slower, but it's still there. Samsung's Android provides a lot more options for security on your phone. Not only with just how you enter the phone, it could be facial, it could be iris, it could be fingerprint, and it could be anything other than like a code where you draw something. I don't know if that's a very good safe one. In any case, they do provide you a lot more options, and the ability to use those different security features is probably beneficial depending on where you are, who you are. Maybe something doesn't work quite well for you, or you can't reach the fingerprint scanner, you can use something else. Apple has definitely moved on to the facial recognition, and I have found myself sometimes having to need to use the code rather than the facial recognition, but we'll talk about that when I do the opposite video of this. Alright guys, number 9, the final one, and this is a big one for me. It's a huge pain in the butt, and it is the ability to control individual sounds on your device. If you need to control the sound of the ringer, as in just phone calls, you can. There's an individual slider for that. If you want to control the sound of your notification, there is an individual slider. For media, an individual slider. And of course for, what else is there? System sounds. I'm able to control all those individually, set them at the sound level I need. Unfortunately, on the Apple side, you cannot do that. There's one slider and that's it. You've got media and volume and that's it. You're out of luck if you want to change anything else. And I find myself having to put it down and up all the time depending on where I am, and it's an absolute pain. If I can just set it straight away like I can on the Samsung experience, then it's so much better. Guys, thank you very much for watching this quick video about the 9 things that I find Samsung's has done a lot better in their software. And next video that I'm going to do is a couple of things that I've done better on the hardware side for both of these devices. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and leave a comment below. What's your favorite software feature of Samsung?